Hello there, guys. Let's start with this. The reason I'm recording this video is because a lot of you are in certain stages of your project that you're gonna start actually putting stuff inside Unreal, and I think for the things that I've done in the past that I learned from this workflow, I think this could be beneficial for you guys because, in particular, the aspect of starting actually putting your scene inside Unreal because. A lot of you, and I see them. I seen a lot of you doing this. Is that just as soon as you open your project to start in Unreal, then you just want to start using this, which is like the default sort of blank project. Um, uh, I mean, in a way, it's okay, but just remember that this is just a starting scene that Unreal Epic Game give it to you, so you can start, playing around with it. So I don't like this because there is a lot of things under here that they are actually contributing or sort of affecting your final image. Ideally, you shouldn't do this. You should start with a blank scene. Now, for example, if you see things like, for example, this is a blueprint that comes with the scene, and what it does, it just simulates Guy, and it simulates the sun. You can see there's a little bit of animation in that because there's a little bit of rotation. So there's some sort of coding and logic behind this. Now, this one as well comes with a post-processing volume. It comes with some other stuff for you to start working, but I generally don't recommend to start with this because it will keep you in a sort of like a black box that you just don't know what's going on. You just say, okay, I'm gonna put this stuff here, and then then you think that it's gonna work. Now, it might, but the point is, if you want to make your scenes look really good, is that you have to start from scratch with nothing in it. So you will have control of every single aspect of the actual project. Now, here you normally have a skylight. You will have this blueprint in the background, which is connected to, if you have a look at the back here, you can see there's a little bit of, I don't know if you can see it, there you go, that disk in there. That disk in there is sort of connected to the direction of this. So as soon as, for example, it's already been coded out. So if I do this and I bake the light in at some point, this you see it automatically updated. See, let's put it to the other side. Yeah, as soon as we do that, then the sun is going to start appearing on the other side because it gets updated automatically. See? So I recommend not to do that because, like I said, there's a lot. I think there's fog as well here. You got atmospheric fog. Now, if you're doing indoor and things like that, you don't need any of this. So I think it's better if you start with nothing, so you understand what's happening, and then you build from there. So what I'm going to show you now is something that you can find on the internet. It's pretty much like a standard sort of way of having like a neutrally lit scene, but I'm going to go through some conversation and narration about why I do this. As well, tailored specifically to your project or what we're doing in Anglia. So I think it's a very good thing to do because you will have something that is sort of neutral. And because I come from the background animation and VFX, I notice that all this workflow had come from the actual VFX workflow from film. And because now in film doesn't mean that you got something different, it's pretty much borrowed from there. But what I want to say is that you need to understand what's behind the scenes, okay? And all these things are very fancy and all that, but sometimes they're not necessary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to start from scratch, and then how to have a neutrally lit scene so you can put your asset and then have a look and then check for your PVR elements and things like that. But if you were to go to do your own project, just start from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into File. I'm going to create a new level, and I'm going to call this an empty level. Okay. I'm not going to say that because I didn't do anything to it. So you see, you got nothing in it. Everything is black. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put just like a sort of like infinity sort of box in here. So I think I showed you this in class already. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into poly modeling, and I'm going to create a box. Okay, and the box is just going to scale it up. I want this box to be, I don't know, 50 meters by 50 meters or something like that. So I'm going to go here, and in the width, I'm going to put it to, this is in centimeters, so this will be 1 centimeter in width. If I put 500, then that will be 5 meters. Okay. So if I put 5,000, that will be, I guess my math is correct, that will be 50 meters. So 5,000. The height, I'm going to make it, I don't know, 3,000, 30 meters. And then the depth, another 50 meters, which is another 5,000. Okay. So I got this box here. Okay. So I'm going to do is I'm going to move it all the way up to the middle there. So I know that this is going to be in height. It's going to be 3000. So I'm gonna put half of it, so I can move it up half of it. So we that would be 1500. Okay, so now the box should be sitting right on top of the grid. Okay, so you start seeing the thing disappear like that because it's quite big. You just select the camera, just in this case would be the perspective, and go into attributes and then just play around with the clipping. I think the clipping needs to be higher there so you can start seeing it, and this probably will be, I don't know, 1 meter. Okay, so I'm gonna take is I'm going to take the this face, I'm gonna take the mesh, and then I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna reverse it so I can have the normals going in. Okay, I'm just gonna take this. I'm gonna go here into custom, and I'm just gonna history, freeze transformation. I'm gonna go into I think that's it. I'm gonna go into the edges. I'm gonna select all these edges. I'm gonna go here and I'm going to bevel them. Okay. You can go as crazy as you want. So I'm gonna put here 0.25 perhaps, and I'm just gonna give them 10. I'm not gonna put any metering, so this stuff here I normally don't like it, but it's okay, just have it. So I think it's too tall, to be fair. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, I'm just gonna scale it down, but I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take press D, and I'm gonna take just one axis. I'm gonna press V to vertex snap, and I'm just gonna go all the way down so I know they will snap to the lowest point here of this vertex. But you're taking one axis, you can align it to that one axis there. So now when I scale down, it will sort of make sense. Okay, so now that I have that, I don't want to do anything to it. I'm just going to soften the edges, and I'm just going to export this. Okay, so before I do that, I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that project that I just created. I'm going to go here into, I think it's in the F drive, because it's my solid state drive. I'm going to here, and I'm going to, again, I've shown you this how to do that. I'm just going to create one folder. I'm going to call it source files, I suppose, not fields, so files. If I can tap today, probably it's too early in the morning to type. So files, okay, and I'm just gonna go here and I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna create 2 folders. One I'm gonna call it, not double clicking, one I'm gonna call it assets, and the other one I'm gonna call it textures. And I'm gonna show you how to link all these, so automatically every time I put something in here, it will automatically be updated inside Unreal. Okay, so I had that, and I'm just gonna go into here. I'm just gonna take export selection. I'm going to file, export selection, go into the options. FBX export is fine, obviously, and I'm gonna go here into that location. I don't have a project set up because I only want to be exporting one thing from here. That's why I didn't set up the project. So I'm gonna go here to source files. And I'm gonna put here asset. I'm gonna call it here. I think I talked to you about the naming convention. It's very important. So normally I'm trying to follow the Unreal Engine or the Epic Games naming convention. They suggest for static meshes called SM, static mesh underscore, and I'm gonna call this backdrop. Okay. Oh, I can't spell today, guys. Backdrop. Okay. And stuff here should be pretty much similar. I normally use these settings for the file format, and they seem to be working for me all the time. So export selection, that is all done. I don't need any UVs, nothing like that. So, and it's right bang in the middle. So I'm just gonna minimize this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make that connection that I told you about. So for that, I'm gonna need to have I think I'm gonna put this here, see if it works. Yeah, there. Okay, let's leave it there for now. I normally like to have this in the tab, but it's going to be quite time consuming for this. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call this my project. Okay. And inside that folder, I'm going to create a new folder called assets. You don't have to name exactly the other one, but I just like for continuity, I'm just going to do that for consistency. So I'm going to hook here textures. So I'm going to put my textures in there. Okay. So I have these two guys. So these two folders are the folder structure within Unreal Engine 4. It's different from the folder structure you find here, which is the folder structure from Windows. So in order for you to make this connection, you had to link one sort of logical folder inside the project to a actual Windows folder. Okay, so in order to do that, you have to go into edit, editor preferences, and there's a section here called loading and saving. And I recommend you guys to do this as soon as you start setting up your project, because this will save you a ton of work. Okay. So saving a project, you go here into this section that calls monitor directories, monitor content directories. You drop this down and you can find here a drop down menu that says directories to monitor. So pretty much what it is, you're going to tell the system, hey, I want you to monitor this folder or this directory inside window. As soon as something changes, let me know so I can import it and then put it into the right connection that I did here. So I'm going to create those two connections. You can do as many as you want. So I'm just going to here, you click this button plus, and it adds one element. So this is default, so we're not going to touch that. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to drop down here. You put the actual Windows folder, and here you put the logical folder, which is inside the project. So I'm going to browse to my project, and normally it should take you to there. So I'm going to say I'm going to put asset, okay, with my project asset. So now every time I put something in asset, it will tell me, hey, do you want to import that into actually the project called asset? You say yes, and then that's it. You don't have to do anytime you do a change. So I'm gonna add another entry here. I'm gonna open this, and I'm gonna browse, and I'm gonna look for my other section, which is textures. Okay, and again I'm gonna link it to textures. Again, every time something happens in this folder, you automatically be notified to the Unreal Engine project, and it will ask you, prompt you here in the right hand corner saying, hey, do you want to import this? And that's it. So when you do that, you have to close it. You don't have to save for this thing because automatically are saved for you. So I'll close that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into you have to actually, I think at the moment is just there, but because the connection wasn't made, so it was not prompting now. So I have to go here. Probably you can do that, and then as soon as you do it, then it tells you to have to do it, but we did it afterwards, so it doesn't make any difference. So I'm gonna go here and say imports, and I'm just gonna import that specific asset that I just told you about. So I'm gonna open that, and then here the settings are pretty much the same. So I think you drop down there. Here you had to tell them to import normals and tangents, I think it is. If you have several meshes, you can just tell it combine meshes, so I put a single mesh inside. So I'm gonna go import. It brings this Lambert by default. I'm just gonna delete it. I don't want it. Force delete. It will give me the checkerboard. So I'm gonna just drag and drop it here, and I'm just gonna scroll up, and I'm just gonna zero out, so it's right bang in the middle there. So you can see here, this thing is the actual geometry that we just created. Okay. So now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start setting up here the basics of this. So for that, I need a material. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into here, all the options, and I'm going to bring some elements in here that you can have a look, because they're very good for testing your colors and things like that if you got something that's neutrally lit. So if you go here into this section that show what's it called, engine content, as soon as you do that, it will show in your content here, this section here, engine content, the stuff that comes within the actual engine itself. So you type here sm underscore, okay, and then here you will have an element that you can drag and drop from them. You can even have this one, the material mesh one, and then put it inside into your project. But we're interested in this one here, which is the color calibrator. So I'm gonna bring it here. Okay, you can make a copy and put in your asset, but it's come with engine content, so you don't have to. The engine, okay, so when we do that, so I'm gonna just close that, and I'm just gonna go here, and now I'm just gonna select this guy. I'm just gonna frame it so I know what it is. I'm gonna set up the actual location. I'm just gonna move it up a little bit. Okay, now this one here comes with some sort of materials assigned to it. This stuff here is called the Macbeth chart, and that is pretty much using VFX to actually calibrate the colors when you're working on a CG in the background, so you can match colors from your CG to the actual background, and as well how to change get a 50% gray. So what we're going to do, this comes with materials already, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign this material to this. So if you select this element, this asset, you will have here the material slot. So we're interested in this guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this guy here, and with that one selected, I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to select this, and I'm going to put it into the material here. So you're going to click there, and I'm going to paste it. So now I have the 50% gray in the background as well. Okay. So the next thing we need to do, we need to add from here we need to add a light. So let's start with the directional light. You can see here, automatically we can see something. Okay. So directional light, as you know, it only works on it only works with direction, doesn't work with anything else. You can put anywhere you want, it will only give you direction. It's sort of to mimic the sun. So I'm gonna put it that to just have it front lit like that. Okay. Obviously at the moment the background is quite dark, so we don't want that. What you can do as well, going back to the engine content and type sm underscore, and then here you should have what is sphere, which is this one, sky sphere. You can just drag and drop it here. Okay, and now you will have this huge sphere with a little bit of a color in the background. We don't have the background, the black thing in there. So this is just for aesthetics. This one here comes with an actual material, which is the sky. If you double click on this, there's a fairly complicated material, but we don't need that. So just a blue sky in there. So just leave it like that for now. You don't have to do that. If ideally you should have, I'm gonna show you later what you could do. You should have a sphere and then just attach a different material with just an HDRI image if you want, of a sky or something, and I'll show you where to find it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the rest of the elements, and then we stop there, and then we move into the next video because it's getting quite long now. So the next thing as well, we're going to put sky here. Okay, so make sure this guy is movable, so it's real time, and this one as well movable. Okay, we're going to go through those settings in a minute. Then the next thing you need to do is perhaps go into, I think it's VFX, and then put a post-processing volume just now for that. Just so we can have something in there. We can just move it to the side if you double, then and then the same with it. This doesn't matter where you put it. It's just always going to be, you know, there, because this is all overall, and this one's just direction. So once we have that, we need to add as well a reflection capture. So you go box reflection, sphere reflection is quite the one that you see. As soon as you put it there, you can start seeing. You see, let's delete that. So when we put it there, you can start seeing the reflections in the sky. So we put it again, you can see it there, and then this obviously based on the distance, you can just change the distance here and then have more influence in your environment in there if you want. But that for now is okay. Okay, you can see there's a little bit of a reflection in there happening. Okay, so once we have that, I think we are done for now, and then later on we're just going to talk about the settings and then how can we improve them, and we take it from there. Okay, at the moment this light is doing nothing, but once we put some stuff in it, it's going to look nice and lit and evening. So you're going to make those shadows lift up. Okay, that's it for now, guys. I think the next we're going to do is going to go through the settings, explain a little bit about them, and then set up the things in Substance Design and Substance Paint, so you can bring stuff automatically here once you have that. Okay, so that's it, guys. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.